driving. Hope comes and stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
And I like it when there's people on and the theme song just ended. Got to do a little bit of sharing here. Today we're going to be talking about the language of the heart, which is something that we hear a lot in AA. There's a book, and the book, Language of the Heart, is grapevine writings done by Bill W. over the years. Grapevine's been around for a very long time, but there's also a what do you call it? There's a chapter in there, Language of the Heart, also, and what the language of the heart is. Kind of long, so I'm going to be skipping through it. But the language of the heart pretty much means love. It means unconditional love. It means, listening to other people. It means meeting other people where they are at, utilizing our empathy instead of our sympathy. Okay? These are all things that are language of the heart. The biggest thing that we do in our language of the heart is the fact that we pass on what was so freely given to us. That is the true nature of the language of the heart. And it requires humility, a lot of humility. It also requires sacrifice. You're going to give up some things in order to accomplish these things, usually your time. So we're going to do captions. Welcome to the Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. I'm going to be your host. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. Okay. So, if you have the book and want to read along, Language of the Heart, page 242. This was written in 1960. It says, from the Grapevine book AA Today, published on the occasions of AA's 25th anniversary. My workshop stands on a hill at the back of our home. Looking over the valley, I see the village community house where our local group meets. Beyond the circle of my horizon lies one world of AA, 8,000 groups, 250,000 of us. How in 25 years did AA get the way it is? And where are we going from here? Often I sense the deep meaning of the phenomenon of Alcoholics Anonymous, but I cannot begin to fathom it. Why, for instance, at this particular joint in history has God chosen to communicate his healing grace to so many of us? Who can say what this communication actually is? So mysterious and yet so practical. We can only partly realize what we have received and what it has meant to each of us. And imagine now, Bill W. is long gone, 40 years now. It's almost 50. I don't know. Somewhere around there. And AA continues to move forward. AA continues to survive. We're 2 million strong now. Okay. And wow, what a world, man. What a thing to possess. It occurs to me that every aspect of this global unfoldment can relate to a single crucial word. The word is communication. There's been a life-saving communication among ourselves, with the world around us, and with God. From the beginning, communication in AA has been unusual and sometimes unique. Because of our kinship in suffering and because of our common means of deliverance are effective for ourselves, Only when we constantly carry to others our channel of contact have always been charged with the language of the heart. And what is that? Let's see if I can communicate something to you of what it means to me. At once, I think of my own doctor, William Duncan Silkworth, and how he ministered to me with the language of the heart during the last shattering years of my alcoholism. Love was his magic, and with it, he accomplished this wonder. He conveyed to the foggy mind of the drunk that here was a human being who understood and who cared without limit. He was the one who would gladly walk an extra mile with us, and if necessary, as often it was, even the last mile of all. At that time, he had already tried to help over 20,000 drunks, and he had failed with nearly all. Only here and there had this dismal experience of futility been brightened by a genuine recovery. People wondered how he could go on, how he could still believe in the possibility for the help of chronic alcoholics. Yet he did believe with a faith that never faltered. He kept saying, "Someday we will find the answers." Now, if William Silkworth didn't do that, we wouldn't be here. Here's a man who is non-alcoholic, who carried the language of the heart. Okay. These people are around. I work with some of these people. They will do anything to help us. They will listen and they will do what they can to help us. Okay. He had developed some ideas of his own about what ailed drunks. They had an obsession to drink, a veritable and destructive lunacy. Observing that their bodies could no longer tolerate alcohol, he spoke of this as an allergy. Their obsession made them drink, and their allergy was guaranteed that they would go mad and die if they kept it up. Here, in contemporary terms, was the age-old dilemma of the alcoholic. Total abstinence, he knew, was the only solution. But how to attain that? If only he could understand them more and identify with them better, then his educational message could perhaps reach into those dark caverns of the mind where the blind compulsion to drink was entrenched. So the little doctor who loved drunks worked on, always in hope that the very next case might somehow reveal more of the answer. When I came to him, his more recent contempts and tactics had begun to produce slightly improved results. So he's encouraged, and he went after my situation with something of the enthusiasm and hope of a young doctor on his first critical case. He told me that the infernal malady alcoholism is and why. He made no promises and he did not try to conceal the poor recovery rate. For the first time, I saw and felt the full gravity of my problem. I learned also for the first time that I was a sick man emotionally and physically. As every AA today knows, this knowledge can be an enormous relief. I no longer needed to consider myself essentially a fool or a weakling. This new insight, plus the little doctor's account of a few of his good recoveries, brought me a surge of hope. But above all, my confidence rested on the understanding, the interest, and the affection he so freely gave me. I was not alone anymore with my problem. He and I could work through it. Despite several discouraging slips, I truly believed this for quite a while, and so did he. But the hour finally arrived when he knew I was not going to be one of his exceptions. He would have to begin to walk that last mile with Lois and me. Characteristic, he found the courage gently but frankly to tell us the whole truth. Neither mine nor any other resources he knew could stop my drinking. I would have to be locked up or suffer brain damage or death, perhaps within a year. It was a verdict I would not have accepted from any other person. He had spoken to me in the language of the heart, and so I was able to receive the truth he offered. But it was a terrible and hopeless truth. He spoke in the name of science, which I deeply respected, and by science seemed condemned. Who else would have driven home this indispensable principle on which every recovery depends? I seriously doubt that any other man alive could have done it. Today, every AA member implants in his new prospect just what Dr. Silkworth so powerfully lodged in me. Hey, Gary. We know that the newcomer has hit bottom. Otherwise, not much has happened because we're all drunks who understand we cannot use that nutcracker of the obsession plus the allergy as a tool of such power that it can shatters the newcomer's ego at death. Only thus can he be convinced that on his own unaided resources he has little of no chance. Good stuff. I didn't have much to say on it, so. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. I hope you have a great day. Go Broncos. Peace out and have a day. Bye-bye.